This is the second video in the tutorial for our sandbox. Where we're going to add the colors and really finish up our sandbox, adding some cool things to it. So what you're going to do is open up your SketchUp app. Maybe you came back to this a second day. So again, you can type in should be in your toolbar, either search for the SketchUp app on your Chromebook app launcher or through your browser or through the link in the Google Classroom assignment. We open up sketchup.com for education. And this is going to show us where our models are. And we've already started our sandbox. And you notice that where it is right now, it's saved as an SKP file. And that's going to be awesome because that's what we're going to actually turn in to our Google Classroom. We'll get to that here in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and double click on it. That's going to open up my project exactly where we left off. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we're going to use a tool that might be new to us. We used it with our logo, but we're going to use it again, called the offset tool. So what we're going to do is we are going to go find our offset tool, and it is in where is it? It is in, here it is. It is in the one with our push-pull. By default, and we have the bottom one where it says offset. Okay, so remember you've got your toolbars here. Don't have to have them memorized, but we're going to use the offset tool. Okay, so when we click on the offset tool, it's going to give you, it looks almost like, I would call it a rainbow. What we're going to do is we're going to go on the inside edge, and we just want to pick an edge of our model where it's at. And what we're going to do is we're going to click once and release. And then what we're going to do is when we slide in, that's not what we want to do. Hold on here. Unselect. Click on my model. There it is. So we click inside our model, and this will give us our offset tool. And so what we see here is, see how this gets here? So I'm going to show you again. I'm going to undo that. So we have our offset tool clicked. We're going to come inside our model just so we've got the inside. See, it's got the blue dots. It'll tell us what we're clicking on. We're going to click inside our model and release, and then we start to move our hand. What we want to do is do a 6, and that's going to give us a 6-inch opening for our sandbox. So that's going to give us our 6-inch opening for our sandbox. So that's going to give us our walls for our sandbox, if you will. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back. We've got the inside of our sandbox. We have a little more cleaning up to do. So what we want to do is we want to make if you see our legs here, see how our legs, this is one shape, this is one shape. We want the outside of our model to be one shape. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use our erase tool, and we're going to erase these inside lines now on our turtle legs. Okay, and what that's going to do is that's going to now make our walls of our sandbox all one shape. And so let's get this going here. There we go. So you have the walls of our sandbox are all one shape. Okay, so now if we go back and we do our select tool, which is just the arrow, you notice when I select this, see how now everything has got the blue dots on it? The blue dots means that's what you're selected or what you're working with. That's going to be our, we've got one solid shape for the walls of our sandbox. Now we're going to go to the tool that made SketchUp famous. This is what put them on the map, was this 3-dimensional, the push-pull tool. So it's going to be back in that same with where our offset was. We're going to choose the push-pull tool. We're going to slide over, and we want to see, we don't want to do the inside. That's the base of our sandbox. That's where our sand is going to go. Or maybe you're going to turn this into a swimming pool. So we're going to turn this in. So we're going to click where we see the body and kind of the walls. We're going to click on it once. So it starts to wiggle on us. And what we want to do is we're going to bring that up 12. And that's going to be 12 inches up. Now, if we change our orbit tool here, so I'm going to change my orbit tool so I can look kind of at the side, right? So you can see that my sandbox is raised up 12 inches for my turtle sandbox. Now I need to do the exact same thing for the head of the turtle. So I'm going to go back to that push-pull tool again, do the push-pull tool. I'm going to select his head. Again, I'm selecting where am I going with this head, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do 12 again, and that's going to make his head the exact same height. Okay, so this is going to be our sandbox shape. So now we go back to our select tool, and I'm just going to select off into space. I can orbit out. I can zoom out just a little bit if I want to. Oh, I'm zooming the wrong way. I can zoom out a little bit so I can see kind of what my sandbox is looking like. I've got my sandbox here. So now the next thing that we need to do is start to color the sandbox. Okay, so to color our sandbox, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the paint tool. We're going to select paint, right? And that's going to be our paint bucket. Now we come over here and this, you see a real basic, and this automatically when we hit paint, it opens up our materials tab. Okay, so now what we want to do here is it gives us a real basic palette of colors and things. What we want to do is we want to open up the browse. Browse is going to be where your creativity comes through. Right now, there's nothing that says that our turtle has to be green or turtle has to be, you can make your turtle whatever color you would like to make your turtle. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go down to colors. Right now, there's lots of different things. Maybe you decide that you want your turtle to be made out of like a shag carpet or something like that. You can design the turtle however it is that you want. So I'm going to go to colors though. And I think our sandbox turtle should be blue for Albert Lee colors. So I'm going to make my turtle blue. So I'm going to click on the blue, and then I'm going to just color all parts of my turtle so that I know where I've got him. Now, one thing that I can do here, if I select the model and I select the blue and I hit the paint, I can paint everything all at once, right? So you can do however you want to do it. So I'm going to make my turtle blue, right? And that'll make everything blue for the turtle, right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to our select tool. And what I want to do is we want to set up and what do we want our sand to look like? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the push-pull tool, and we want to select the base of our, I don't want to do that. I want to select the base of our model, and that's going to raise up. See how we can raise up our model here? Now what we want to do is I want to raise it up 6 because we want the sandbox to be half full. So I'm just going to type in, oh, I went 6 the wrong way. So I got to undo that. I'm going to do the push-pull tool. I'm going to have it come up 6. There it is, 6 inches. So it's going to look like it's a pretty full sandbox. Now for the sandbox tool, again, I'm going to choose my paint tool. But this one, what we're going to do is I'm going to look at what are the different things that we want to put in here. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And if we go to landscaping vegetation, this is where sand is going to be. And I think that looks like a pretty good sand. So that's going to make the sand for my sandbox. Okay. So there's the sand for my sandbox. I could also choose if I wanted to make it a swimming pool. I could put water in it, make it so that this is going to be a swimming pool. Maybe it's going to be a kiddie pool instead of a sandbox. So you could totally make it a kiddie pool instead of a sandbox. I'm going to go back to and make this a sandbox though. So I'm going to go back here and I am going to make my sandbox. Okay. So the last thing that you need to do for your sandbox to really make it yours is we are going to get into the 3D warehouse, and I'm going to show you guys some cool things in the 3D warehouse. Let's see here if we can find this. Let's see here. So we're going to search our materials. So let's close this out real fast. And components. There it is. We're going to search when we hit the components on the side, we can search the 3D warehouse. And so this is where we can search for things. What you need to do is add 2 things to your sandbox that make it your own, right? And so what I might do is here, I'm going to type in beach ball, see if there's anything for beach ball, right? Oh, I got a beach ball right here. So if I click on that beach ball, that's going to bring the beach ball in. And then what I can do with this beach ball is when I click the mouse, I can move this. Now here's what you have to do. So I can do a couple of things with this. I can move this beach ball to where it is that I need to make it. I can I'm going to shrink this down here a little bit. So I've got this beach ball. So what I want to do is I want to put this beach ball on here. What you might have to do is we can slide the beach ball up and down along the blue or the red or green axis. And what you need to do is I'm going to put the beach ball in there. So I got the beach ball in the project. We can resize the beach balls. We can do some things like that. What you need to do is add 2 elements to your sandbox that make it unique, that make it your own. When you are done with this, make sure that you save your project. Okay. And when we turn this project in, what you're going to do is we're going to export this project. So we're going to click down here. I've only done one unique object for my model. So you need to do a second one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the export, and you're going to export this, right? And this is going to be, oh no, it doesn't have it. So we're going to save our project to save. So here's how this is going to work. So we've got to go and do our project we're going to attach it as a SketchUp file. So what next thing that you would do is go to your Google Classroom, and you would attach a file from your Google Drive. And in your Google Drive, you're going to search for recents, and you should see your .skp file for recent. And that's where you're going to attach it. Now, I don't see the student side of the Google Classroom, so I can't show you the attaching of it. But you'll search for your Google Drive. You could even search in your Google Drive using the search function for your name Sandbox, and it'll find the file, and you're just going to attach that file. By attaching it as a SketchUp file, I'll get to see the colors and everything, and I'll be able to move around and see all the stuff that you've done in it in your really cool project. And so that's going to be your sandbox for this week. If you have any questions, feel free to stop in during virtual office hours. Send me a Google Meet, Hangout, chat, text, call me, whatever I need to do to help you guys get through this. Good luck with your SketchUp Sandbox.